Morning, Grace.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Grace, this is Tom Workman.
Hey, Grace.
Hi, Tom. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to the team.
Thanks.
Hey there. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes behind y'all. Good to see y'all. And the welcome to the team. I just missed the name introductions. I'm Rob.
I'm Tom.
Tom?
Yes.
Well, have you been Tom your whole life?
Supposedly the story goes is that I was named after my mom's last boyfriend before she married my dad.
That's outstanding.
Yes, isn't it?
Was
And I
not
know-
expecting that.
And I know that my dad is my dad because he's bald and so am I. So
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. So, Tom, what's your role then? Are you an advisor? Support?
He's going to be our Chief Operating Officer.
Love it.
You didn't read our press release.
Oh, bless my heart. Okay, that's outstanding. So we should catch up then at some point, Tom. The book, are you familiar with Traction, Gino Wickman? Traction. It's operating process. Yeah, very good.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, anyway, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yep.
Yeah, excellent. Very good. Kevin, how are you?
Doing well. Doing well. We're having carpet put in, and there's a glue that's going down first, and it's making it interesting in the office today. It's a pretty strong odor. So
Uh-oh.
all the windows are open, and we're
If we say some weird things, we may be high.
All right. Well, there's a blanket of grace here, and I understand. Yeah, I understand. My goodness. Well,
yeah. Grace, I think the press release, the final, that looks really good. I think it read well. Yeah, happy with that.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was hoping we could finalize that today, and then I've put together a list of some contacts at GRBJ and the Holland Sentinel that we talked about to send over to you. I think it would be best coming from you, Kevin.
Okay.
So if you want to email that, well, I don't know if Stephanie or someone else has access to your email. And then there's the paid opportunity with GRBJ for the new hires. If you wanted to submit those there, I can send you that link too.
Okay.
So in my follow-up email, I'll include that information.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You guys ready to jump in?
Yep, we're ready.
So we switched up the progress review document just to a presentation layout. Looks a little nicer on the screen, and you'll see some updated information that we're reporting on too. So a little bit more detailed for you guys. So headlines, over the past month, we launched the lead generator. We've got the Facebook ad ready to go as soon as we can get that compliance approval. Stephanie and I were working on that yesterday. And then we've got the press release, excited that that's good to go, and I'll send you over the contacts that you can email it to. And then the August blog, how much life insurance do I need? Stephanie, did that one get sent to compliance?
It did. Yep, they're reviewing that. So, and the Facebook ads are good to go. I found that out at the very end of the day yesterday.
Oh, perfect. Cool. Well, we can get that launched by the end of the week.
Great.
It will have to get like Facebook has to run their approval on it too. So it probably won't start getting traction until early next week. That can take a few days, but I'm glad we
Are we going to mention the vaccination or what? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We want approval, so we probably should. Um, they just like run tests on it, and sometimes it can take a few days. And then let's run through analytics, and we can hop back over to a couple of the things that we need to chat about. So this is your website acquisition. This is something that we hadn't shown you previously, but this is how people are coming to your website. So 61.3% are coming through a Google search. That's what organic means. So they could be searching your name. They could be searching financial advisor in Holland, or they could be searching a topic that we've touched on the blog. So we don't know exactly what words they're using to find the website, but we know those are coming through a Google search. And then the yellow section, almost 32% are coming directly to your website. So they're either clicking on a link that's in your email signature, or they're typing in westmichiganadvisors.com in their browser. And then the blue, nearly 7% is referral. So that is from like Facebook or another website that's bringing people to your website.
Hey, Grace, just a quick question on the organic. Is there a way that you can do the keyword search to find out how they're coming to us?
We can look at what you're ranking for on Google, and we can find that out for you.
Yeah, yep. That would be interesting to know.
Yeah.
So kind of both sides of that. We also start with keywords in our SEO process for blog writing and for the ultimate web copy itself. And so we've been targeting specific key phrases and words as we're kind of building those into each of those digital assets. And just for your reference, part of our long SEO game is ongoing blog and content strategy that are leveraging those targeted key phrases. And so as we continue to write each and every blog, ultimately we should see more and more organic traffic begin to build for the site. So seeing that it's already at 61% versus the direct traffic is quite frankly quite encouraging for us at this early stage.
Yeah.
Any other questions on traffic acquisition?
Nope.
Next is session duration. This is something that we've reported on before. We just added this graph. So we're at 1 minute and 40 seconds. We're down about 20%, but we're still over that 1 minute mark, which is where we want to be. So we're doing pretty well. I think as we launch more blogs, we'll see this go up as well. So the chart that you're looking at is the session duration of the website, like all the pages combined and average over the month. So you can see kind of where the spikes are. And then the lighter green is compared to the previous month. And I'll send all this to you too for you to review.
So again, knowing that, Tom, this might be the first time you're seeing some of these data points, and just from an ops perspective, but just Grace mentioned at least a minute is really our target. So 1 to 2 minutes is really what we're trying to target. Sites that have like a 30-second or 20-second session duration, we would interpret that to be like unqualified traffic coming to it and checking out immediately. So rather than like you can pay some services to just like stuff your website full of traffic, and you'll see your numbers go up. But if the session duration is like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, people are coming in and bouncing. Seeing 1 minute and 40 seconds for us is also very encouraging, because if you really put a stopwatch on 1 minute and 40 seconds on average, I mean, that's quite a bit of time that people are spending there. So we at least know that they're interested enough to scroll through, read the blogs, read the web pages that we're laying out for them. So this is an encouraging number.
Because really all you have is about that much of for their attention span anyways nowadays.
Yeah, really good point. And in fact, as far as we're concerned, we have 10 seconds of attention with anybody at a time.
Yep.
And every 10 seconds has to sell the next 10 seconds.
Yep.
So if that's true, it happened 14 times on average throughout the entire 30 days of average traffic. And of course, there's spikes and valleys, as the case with the market too, right? There's days you're up, days you're down, but over the long haul, our cap rate is 1.4% or, a minute and 40 seconds. I'm just trying to be financial advisor cute with that, but you know what I mean? Our average, so.
So Rob, you talked about bounce rates. You briefly just mentioned that. Can you get bounce rates then on a per page basis, which would include then the blogs? Because that would be interesting to track then towards relevant content.
Yes is the answer. Analytics tracks every page that's in there. We could look into that. Yep. Great. Good thought.
Something that we previously reported on, like the website's average bounce rate, and moving forward, we're switching over to Google Analytics 4, which doesn't report bounce rate. They've just found that it's not a huge indication of your healthy site, because if people don't want to be there, you don't really want them there. You know what I mean? We want that qualified traffic. So we can definitely pull it. We still have UA on the site. It's just
or if they're not tracking bounce rate anymore, then what's the relevant metric to be able to track, to track that? And so did that bounce rate then go away with their major logarithm change on June 2?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
So the new one's that engagement score.
Yeah.
So the engagement.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's what we're going to want to track then, like from what you're saying, that's what we're going to want to track then going forward.
Yeah, we didn't report on it this month because Google is making tweaks to it. They've just found some issues. So what they were doing, session duration is in UA is how long someone's on the page. But if they open your website in their browser tab and leave it up for 30, like if they look at it, scroll through, and then move away, but keep the browser tab up, once it hits 30 minutes, it's reported as 0.
Mm-hmm.
So engagement time was supposed to be the better metric because it's how many, it's recording the time that people are like clicking, scrolling, but Google has seen some issues and I think they're getting some pushback on that. So there was some changes to it and they started reporting it as session, like similar to session duration over the past month. And so just because of the changes, we wanted to keep it with what you guys had seen in the past and we went with the UA metric on this. So once that gets regulated, we'll move back to engagement time.
Okay.
And then sessions. So we're up about 10%. This is how many times, so we were looking at unique users, or we will next. This is how many times they came to the website. So sessions doesn't report. If someone comes twice, it's gonna show up here, whereas the next slide, it's just, no matter how many times they come, they're just reported as 1. So we want this to be a little bit higher than the next score because it shows that people are interested in coming back to the website. And then here you can see how many sessions per day. So here we're looking at 225 compared to 159, and new users is up 38.3%. So we are seeing that people came back, on average almost twice, which is great. This shows that we're getting some qualified traffic. Any questions on these slides?
So yeah, just a quick question. Sorry for all the questions. So, and I'm sure there's a way to do this. So if you have a new user that comes into the site, what page are they going through, and then how are they flowing through the site?
Yep, Google Analytics 4 will allow us to track behavior.
Okay, because what we don't know yet, is how they're flowing through the site. I think that would be some interesting material to see as well too.
Yeah, certainly there's the front door user interface that we would be looking at of the front landing page and which other subpages they navigate to. But again, just to reiterate, the blogs are written with SEO keywords in mind.
Yep.
So there will be a fair number of folks that enter through the blog and then become aware of West Michigan Advisors as a result of a topic that they're searching. And right now, there's only a few blogs that we have, but as we continue to build out that site content, that's part of our overarching organic reach strategy.
Right.
Yep.
And then just a quick summary, engagement time is over 1 minute. We did see that increase in New Year's users and sessions. And this month there was a 10% increase in organic traffic. So like Rob was saying, as we reviewed the traffic acquisition pie chart, we're really encouraged by that 60% organic traffic. And then the Who We Are team page had over 300 views this month, which is really exciting. We did see that decrease in session duration, but I think as we add more blogs, we should see an increase there. So overall, everything is looking good. Any questions on analytics? Cool. So just a couple things I wanted to get some updates on. Were you guys able to find any CRMs through compliance, or is that just kind of on hold for now?
You mean like MailChimp?
Yeah, marketing software.
Stephanie, I think you and I talked about that. That looked like MailChimp we were going to be able to use. Was that right?
It looks like we can use it. Their suggestion from the compliance side was that we would just have the email also send to like our office email so that it would go through Global Relay. But I guess I need to know on the software side if the emails are stored in there once they've been sent along with the list of who they went to.
So it would say you would store the list in there. They're called audiences inside MailChimp. And then you could look at the audience name, but you wouldn't necessarily know, like, if you sent an email and then you got 5 new subscribers to that audience, you wouldn't be able to look at the past email and see that it didn't include those 5 people. You would just see what the audience name it was sent to. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. So from the compliance side, we absolutely have to have the list of who it went to. So we'll have to find a way to capture that.
Yeah, it does sound like you would be capturing who it went to. We wouldn't,
Okay. Not who's like opting in.
if someone was added to the list, the next time an email went out, those people would then be on that list, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
So, Steph, I think we're okay there.
okay,
Hopefully the list is continuing to grow. We just
Right.
need to have that snapshot in time when an email goes out, we know who it went to.
Yep.
That's what's got to be recorded.
Yep. We could definitely do that.
okay. So is that something that we would just sign up for from here and then give you access to, similar to how we gave access to Facebook?
Actually, let me double check, because I think there is a way that you can just give us like agency access, so you don't have to give us your login credentials. Is that right, Rob?
Yeah, that's correct. So you would set up your account. So it'd be, set up within your ecosystem, Stephanie, and then you would assign us as your marketing agency within that. And then we'd have access to make updates on your behalf to it, but it's still the ownership of that remains with West Michigan Advisors.
Okay,
Yep.
I can email that over to you, Stephanie.
okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then I know you guys had talked about adding Tom, and is it Ken? That's the new
Yes.
advisor?
Yeah.
To the website. So whenever you guys are ready to do that, you can just send us over a headshot in their bio. I think I already have their titles from the press release, and then we can get them added.
Okay.
All right.
Real quick on that CRM a second, Grace. I just thinking through like the strategy, like the advisor following up strategy. So we'll set this up with MailChimp. It sounds like that's the CRM that we're going to land with. We'll be able to apply tags inside of MailChimp when a certain user activity takes place. For instance, when folks come in and download the checklist, download the workbook, or any kind of resource that we're adding to it, like the free retirement planning workbook. When they access that, we can apply a tag. Also, when they click schedule a call, we can apply a tag to that. And as future activities are built out, there may be additional tags that we apply to that as well. It may be helpful, Stephanie, for the advisors to have access to that contact in the MailChimp CRM, so that they're aware of what that prospect has experienced or has accessed. So it's not just a cold lead when they start the conversation with it. It may come through schedule a call, which is like the please reach out to me consult button. But it may be helpful information for the advisor to know, oh, they've downloaded our retirement planning workbook and so on. So that might be something for us to map out, as well as how to best equip the advisor with that information as they reach out to do the follow-up, or whoever's going to be doing that follow-up, at least to know where to grab it. In the database of MailChimp, you will easily see all of that. But if it's only Stephanie logging in, I just want to raise that as a conversation. Others may need access to that internally for you.
Okay.
I'm also wondering, did you guys want to add current contacts? Like, is there any newsletters or something that you'd want to be sending out through MailChimp to current clients?
Probably.
So we can keep them in a separate audience as prospects too. I think that would be best, even using tags.
Okay.
All right. So the only other thing that I have for us is the next blog topic. And that is, do you need a wealth a wealth manager? 3 questions to ask. Doesn't have to be 3. But were you guys able to put some thoughts together on this?
Well, the answer is yes. This is for Clinton Aaron. I don't think Shane's on.
I don't think Shane's on either.
Yeah. What do you want to know? Do you need a wealth manager? Yes.
So as you're looking for a wealth manager, what questions should you ask?
I think you should, you may want to ask yourself, how confident am I in my ability right now to successfully retire and not run out of money? Do I know what I'm paying for investment advice, or am I getting it from my neighbor? I don't know.
Do you have the time for this? Do I have the interest in it? What would I rather be doing than managing my own money?
Yeah, we know that time is a resource, and I think people sometimes underestimate the cost of their time. I think we hear that from higher net worth people, especially.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Kevin, talk to me about the psychology of a wealth manager. About 50%, correct me if I'm wrong, but about 51% of your role is to serve as counselor and therapist for clients who are watching, the news And, if they have like overreactive on their own, they may not have somebody to bounce that idea off of other than their neighbor and so on. So some of it is keeping, correct me if I'm wrong, but the clients that you serve on a disciplined strategy that isn't dependent on sensational news media, in events of the world. I mean, talk to me a little bit about the psychology and counseling that happens as a wealth advisor.
Yeah, I think it's more like 90%. As I've always said to people, the reason you use a financial advisor is not necessarily to make the right pick of which investment to be in, but rather to keep you from doing something you shouldn't do. That's where the real value is. And if you look at every major crash we've had, if an advisor could keep the client invested, it saved them tremendous amounts of money. And so that's where real value comes in, because the natural instinct is fight or flight. And with most investors, the first instinct is flight. So it's our job, really, as the financial advisor, to help them navigate those times. And it's okay to fight through this. Don't flight, And so that's where the real value is.
Yeah, the perspective of zooming out, looking at a wider time horizon, and the wisdom in that is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
And then, some of this is kind of back to our brand script originally, but as folks are accumulating in their earning years, everybody's taught save, save, save. It's easy to just put 20%, paycheck into the 401k or whatever the case is. They kind of put that on autopilot. But if I recall from our conversation, very few folks really think about a spend down plan. Like after the earning years are done, like how do I make this money last? So just kind of remind us of something, like if a client was in that space and sitting in the office there, Aaron and Clint, like, how would you say like the value of a wealth manager is, what in terms of the spending plan in retirement?
Is there a way to figure out something through like a key phrase, what people search for, because I think, maybe what Kevin is saying is, so during times of market panic, are people Googling, when should I sell? And then if you could have something, if you can tag that phrase to when should I sell to a blog post that talks about why you shouldn't sell during times of panic, would you get more traffic that way off of that key phrase than just saying something, because I look at it, if I'm just an average investor and the market's tanking and I don't know whether to sell or not, first, I may or may not call my advisor, but I'm going to Google when should I sell and see what, when should I sell with the stock market crashing or something. Is there something that you can do around that phrase?
So the blogs that we have selected, we're looking at like month over month what's being searched.
Okay.
And so, since this is like our first year, we want to kind of build like that long-term SEO growth.
Yeah.
So we're looking at things that will continually be searched and not just kind of like the more timely. Some of them will.
Yep, that makes sense. Yep. Okay.
And just to reiterate, so to Grace's point, the titles and the subjects that we're presenting did start with that research, Tom, of like somebody asking, do I even need a wealth manager? That phrase would rank for this blog. Okay. And so when we meet on a monthly basis, we've presented these, to the team to put some thoughts together. Mm-hmm. And we want to get your voice for a couple of minutes, just to get the imprint of West Michigan advisors, like from Aaron and Clint and Kevin and the team and Stephanie and yourself, even just to speak into for a couple of minutes each of these topics. Then we do the heavy lifting of background research, SEO, keyword research. And as Kevin could show you, we actually bring a blog draft to say, here's what we came up with. And if there's anything that's technically inaccurate, this is a chance for us to kind of do our internal audit of that. And Stephanie provides great feedback in the team. But then the next step is to submit that to compliance, make sure that it could be presented on the
Okay.
internet. Yep.
Okay.
So we're using methodically exactly what you're saying.
Mhm.
It just happened prior to this meeting that brought us to this recommended title.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
We're also looking at like comparable articles on Google and seeing the tools, the SEO tools that we have will tell us like what pieces of content that we'll need to rank. So it will tell us like, oh, the other blogs are really heavy in pictures. We need to have a lot of pictures, or you need a bulleted list that Google can pull. So the tools that we use are really cool, and they give us a lot of background research really quickly, which is neat.
Yeah, so back to this, we're from a retirement standpoint, when someone comes in, we want to put together a plan, a strategy for someone that they can retire with confidence and know that they're going to be able to reach their goals and not run out of money. And Clint kind of touched on that already, but that's what we're going to do for folks, when they come in and say, hey, we're getting ready to retire. We've done this, we've done the heavy lifting with saving, but now what? We're going to put together a strategy that then they can retire confidently, knowing that they're not going to run out of money.
I think in some ways we give them emotional permission to like make a tough decision, even if it's, can I draw money? I had a client call yesterday and ask if she could take $10,000 extra out this year for a trip. And, she can read all about fundamentals of investing and how much she should take out of her withdrawal, at what rate, but to, individually to have the permission to do this and to be comfortable with the decision, I think is unique.
Right. Yeah, and to be able to bounce that off, kind of like, from time to time, I bounce things off of Clinton, like, hey, can I just say this out loud and tell me if I'm not crazy? Or tell me,
Yes.
I give you permission to tell me that I am crazy, And I think clients do that with us sometimes. Like, I just want to run this past you and make sure I'm not crazy.
A lot of times we're helping people avoid a catastrophic mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Left to their own emotions, and I mean, they're not trained professionals in investments, but they've had whatever they've put away. So the psychology piece of this, I think, is really, really important. It's almost like the emotions, the logic, and the planning. Like those are like three areas of questions. Like, do you tend to emotionally invest? Do you have are you scared or worried by what you see in the news media? If so, you might need a wealth manager to help temper some of that and give you some better perspective. I'm just trying to think, what might these three questions be? Was it, Aaron, did you say like, how much can I take without running out? Like, how much can I draw down on my investments without running out? That's a question you could bring in to an advisor and to a wealth manager to give you that insight.
Right. And how do I, a lot of people have built up a nice retirement savings, and investments have done well, and now how do I protect it? So I may need a wealth manager to help me protect wealth.
You guys have your very first initial meeting with a client. What are some questions that they're asking then?
Yeah, a lot of people want to know, am I going to be able to retire? Or how am I doing compared to other people my age? I get those questions a lot. And yeah, what's the most efficient way for me to do this from a tax standpoint? And those are all things, we can help answer. Um, Clint, do you have anything else to add there?
No, I'm a little distracted. Sorry. I'm trying to find this place I haven't been to. I was supposed to go with Kevin, but I don't think he's going to be on time.
Nope.
That's okay. I think we've got a really good starting point and some really good content. So I'm excited about this. Thank you guys for all of your input here. That was everything that I had for today. Do you guys have any other questions or any other needs from us?
I think one of the things we want to continue to look through all of the pictures available. Just keep working through that. I think that's one of the things that everyone's been kind of thinking about is, again, as we're starting to let the dust settle and the conversion has been completed, I think everyone's getting a little more, we have a little more time to start looking at things where we didn't before, so.
Yeah.
And Rob and Grace, at some point, I'd like to sit down with you guys and just kind of, give me a crash course as to what all you've been working on. And, I know I'm not a marketing branding person by any means. I know maybe enough to be a little dangerous with Google and analytics and stuff like that, but just to, sit down with you and just, pick your brains a little bit.
I have given him Don Miller's book to read, so.
Yeah, does this look familiar to you? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So Tom, here's the deal. Like, you got a couple extra gold stars in my book because you're asking some very insightful questions based on what you do know and are aware of. So yeah, I would be delighted to have some time. I'm sure Grace and I could coordinate that and kind of catch you up to speed a bit. Why don't you do this? Finish that Don Miller book, the Building a Story Brand, and let us know when you've because that'll give you kind of a sense of some of the basic principles.
Yeah.
And it's a quick read. And then let's set up a time, maybe even another half hour. We can kind of go through the historic process that we've gone through with brand scripting and all of the different elements and what we're working on and some of the measures that we're focused in on.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to have you part of the team.
Thanks.
The only other piece I was going to add was on the, and I talked to Stephanie about this as far as just one thing for the press release. We want to update the different states that we serve clients in because we do serve clients in more states than that.
Oh, okay.
So I think Stephanie was going to work on that list.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I will send that over this afternoon.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Clint. All right, well, I will watch from that email, the email from Stephanie to update the press release, and then I can send you guys over the final version with the list of contacts that it can be sent to.
Okay. Yeah, great. Well, thank you guys,
Thank you.
as always. I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Perfect. Yeah, look forward to it. And Tom, reach out as soon as you're ready. Let's schedule some time. We'd love to have that with you.
Yeah, that sounds good, Rob. I look forward to it.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Tom.
Okay.
Yep.
All
You
right.
too, Grace.
Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So the blog, I think, is it just us now on the call?